Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Okafor, as the illustrious Mrs. Olayinka had mentioned. And yes, it was a pleasure having her teach my children. And when she invited me to this, I had no option but to say yes, because because whatever I felt she was part of, whatever she was part of, I felt it was something going to be worthy. And so I decided to do this. So without much ado, we're going to go into the program, and I will be talking about parenting in a digital age, and I'm going to talk on different aspects of that. Just give me a moment. I'll share my screen and then we dive right in. Okay? Okay. Please let me know once you can see my screen so that I'm sure that I have your attention.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great, 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 great. Just 1 second. I'm trying to rent my own screen. Yes, perfect. I like to have human interaction as I teach so that I feel of that. Great. So today we're talking about parenting in a digital world. And I want to say this for you to be here. I want to say thank you for taking a step towards, even knowing more about this topic. Because you see, a lot of parents are so overwhelmed that they are rooted in the sport. They can't even, they don't want to even learn anything. They're like, look, I can't deal. So the fact that you're here says a lot about you as a parent. So first of all, everyone give yourself a round of applause. I want to see that in the chat box. So let me see your rounds of applause. Please clap for yourselves, clap for yourselves. Yes, thank you, Frances. I love to see that. Some human interaction. She's off. Don't you guys like yourselves? Don't you want to clap for yourselves? Clap, 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 clap. If you're not clapping, I'm not moving forward. I am clapping for myself. Yes, thank you, Joan. Who's clapping? Great. Who's the next person clapping for themselves? Thank you, Florence. Well done. Sam is raising his hand. I assume that's also clapping. I will take it as a clap. Yes, great. Now I see you clapping for yourself. I need at least two more people. Good. Oluronke is clapping. Good. I need at least one more person and then I will continue. If you don't clap, I don't move forward. Jennifer is clapping for herself. Great. Taiwo is clapping. Okay, so I have a meet the speaker slide, but you guys have already met me, so I will move to my other slide. At the end of this class, you're going to understand what digital parenting is all about. Some of us hear it, but we're not necessarily sure what exactly it means, right? I don't believe in buzzwords. If you don't know the meaning, then you're not really engaging or getting the value. We're going to also learn about the mistakes parents make when, trying to parent digitally. And we're going to learn about the things that they shouldn't do. We're also going to learn how to equip ourselves to raise children in this digital age. We're going to talk about something called the ALA framework. I will get into it when we get there. And we are going to talk about skills that we need to teach our children. Okay, okay, great. We need to teach our children in the digital era. Now, before we start that, the first thing I'm going to say is the role of the family in social transformation. You must accept that the family is the bedrock of society. It's the building block of any society. So that means when you see a society that is dysfunctional, it means that there are thousands of families that are dysfunctional, which is why the society as a whole is dysfunctional. And if you see a great society, it means there are thousands of great societies. And so when we want a digitally, uplifted society, then we must start at the home front. And that means that the parents must prepare the children for both the physical world and the digital world. Most of us think digital world is just the laptop that we're using. But the digital world is actually bigger than the physical world because it connects you to millions of people from your bedroom. And that's a great thing, but it can also be a dangerous thing. And parents have to face up to that reality and take up that responsibility. And yes, it might sound like a lot more work, but there's a way around it. And once you embrace it, it becomes part of you. Now, what are the challenges we face in this 21st century? The biggest challenge is the ignorance of the terrain. There are so many things to learn, so many things we didn't grow up with, so many things we haven't seen in school, and our children are natives while we are immigrants. I don't know if you guys have heard that. Digital natives versus digital immigrants. It simply means that our children were born in this era. And so right from even the womb, they've been hearing us talk about tech, tech, tech. They wake up, they see tech. So it's very natural to them. But for us, we acquired that skill. So no matter how much expertise we have in that area, right? It's still something that is second nature to us. It's not instinctive. And because it's not instinctive, there's an overwhelming parenting that comes from having to learn all the new things, having to balance work and family life, having to teach our children about online safety, having not to parent in fear because the fear is now coming closer and closer to check, having to help our children deal with stress, both digital stress and physical stress, encouraging our children to be independent, online and offline. Can you see? Because before everything was all offline. All the things I'm talking about were physical things, but now we're having to do it both online and offline. Building value-driven participatory culture at the home. A lot of us grew up in a home where parents just provided us with meals, the things we needed, and they just got on with life because they were so busy. But you can't get away with that now as a parent because there's just so much that's trying to get your child's attention. And so you have to be active in your home. You have to be value-driven. You have to participate, and you have to get that participatory response from your children as well. That's a lot, right? Like, that's a lot. But like I said, if you embrace it, if you own it, you'll find that we are very resilient. It becomes part of you, and you just keep moving. Now, before we go into what digital parenting is, I want to clarify what digital parenting is not. Digital parenting is not about just block this, block that, restrict this, you can't do this, you can't use that. That's not digital parenting. That's digital policy. Parenting is different. The way you parent online is the same way you parent offline. So if you're an authoritarian parent on offline, you'll be an authoritarian digital parent. And that's when you're going to be blocking, and it's not to say that you shouldn't do these things, but there are conversations as well. And then remember that tech is here to stay. It is not going anywhere. And so your children need to learn to be able to use tech, but in a responsible manner. Let's also know that tech is not about spying on your children. When they're on this app in the night, you go and take their phone and go and start scrolling through, right? Well, occasionally, if it's at the extreme, you may need to, just like you would with a drug addict. If you have a drug addict or anyone addicted to something in your home, there's some sneaky moves that you have to pull just to be sure that you are checking up on them, right? But I don't know that your child is a digital addict. At least, hopefully, we don't have them here at this point. So why are we pulling sneaky moves? Why are we not having open conversations? Not confrontations, conversations, right? It's not just about rules, 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 rules. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. Where are we having those conversations? Where are we talking to our children and telling them why those boundaries are important and why it's beneficial to them? I talk about the risks and why tech is good for them. It's about conversations, about relationship. It's not also about, okay, Mrs. Okafor said this today. And then you gather all your children and say, we're not doing this today. I hereby decree that this is this. We're not doing this. And then everybody goes their separate ways because the Lord and Master or Mistress has decreed. It's not that either. An ongoing conversation, just like your parenting is an ongoing conversation. You adapt it as your children grow. You adapt it as your family grows. You adapt it as the circumstances change. And that is what digital parenting is. And it also does not assume that because your children are digital natives, they know more than me. And they will figure it out. I beg, I didn't kill my parents. So there's something we say in Nigeria, I didn't kill my parents, so you can't come and kill me. No, that's not nice. That's not fair. You need to get in on the program. You need to know that while they may be ahead of you on the curve, there's still life lessons to be learned. While we say this is a tech thing, being able to use tech is just one step of the journey. When you are in the digital platform, there's still a lot of things to do there. There's still real life scenarios, right? There's still the need to have, and we'll talk about that later in the slides, but there's still a lot of real life scenarios that play out in the digital world. So the same way you bring up scenarios, you talk to your children about it, explain to them that this is not how you behave, this is how you behave. The same way you champion them, you cheer them on in real life, is the same way you do it online. See? So anything you're doing offline, you want to be replicating it in one form or the other online. There's a saying we have in the digital parenting school. Most of the online problems you have today start from offline problems. So if you've not dealt with those problems offline, if you've not impacted your children with those values offline, it will carry on online. And because online is such a big space, such an intense space, is digitally blind, so they are anonymous, your children, it will just exaggerate whatever problems they have offline. So be mindful of that. So I've said all the things digital parenting is not. I've talked about challenges of parenting. So therefore, what then is digital parenting? Digital parenting involves parenting in preparing children to navigate the digital world safely, right? It also involves, managing, it's more than just managing screen time. It involves teaching them how to balance their lives with technology. And remember, even we as adults are trying to balance our lives, right? So you can imagine how difficult it is for a child who's young, who is impressionable, and they have little or no guidance. So you need to, as a parent, be sensitive to this and guide your children on how to balance life. And it's not about instructions, it's about modeling, it's about conversations, and just, you keep going. And then in this digital age, you too must balance, like I said, the technology and ensure that your children benefit from the resources. So you cannot be afraid of technology. If you're afraid of technology, then you will not parent your children in a balanced manner online. It means that you'll be depriving them of the wealth of experience that they will have. It means that you'll be parenting in fear. And parenting in fear is never a good thing because you'll be overreacting when you should be providing balance. It means that you will not help your children have healthy relationships, across different platforms, and you will limit their communication skills. So you see, it's very important why we must practice digital parenting. And just in case I haven't communicated the importance, we're going to watch this video next. Once I change my screen, please tell me if you can hear the video. And once you can, just put thumbs up in the chat box and listen attentively. Thank you.
Almost every alcoholic discovered alcohol when they were.
Oh my goodness, sorry about that. Just 1 second. Sorry. I had my internet up and running, but I think
Teenagers. When we're very, very young, the only approval we need is the approval of our parents. And as we go through adolescence, we make this transition.
Give me a second. Let me restart this video so that you get the full effect of it. And I will also be changing my network in a minute. So for those of us in Nigeria, you will remember that we have to keep playing around with this network from time to time, and it doesn't give you notice, so you can't really be prepared for it. Just 1 second. Okay. Aha, got it. Okay, can you guys still hear me? Can you see me? Great. So we're going to the video now.
Almost every alcoholic discovered alcohol when they were teenagers. When we're very young, the only approval we need is the approval of our parents. As we go to adolescence, this transition where we now need the approval of our peers. What's happening is because we're allowing unfettered access to these dopamine-producing devices and media, too many kids don't know how to form deep, meaningful relationships. Their words, not mine. They will admit that many of their friendships are superficial. They will admit that their friends, that they don't count on their friends, they don't rely on their friends, they have fun with their friends, but they also know that their friends will cancel on them if something better comes along. Deep, meaningful relationships are not there because they never practice the skill set, and worse, they don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with stress. So when
but it's coming back. Oh no. Oh, why? I'm so sorry
almost
about
every
this.
alcoholic
Sorry.
discovered
Okay, I guess maybe you need to hear this message very well.
Almost every alcoholic discovered alcohol when they were teenagers. When we're very, very young, the only approval we need is the approval of our parents. And as we go through adolescence, we make this transition where we now need the approval of our peers. What's happening is because we're allowing unfettered access to these dopamine-producing devices and media, too many kids don't know how to form deep, meaningful relationships. Their words, not mine. They will admit that many of their friendships are superficial. They will admit that their friends, that they don't count on their friends, they don't rely on their friends, they have fun with their friends, but they also know that their friends will cancel on them if something better comes along. Deep, meaningful relationships are not there because they never practice the skill set, and worse, they don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with stress. So when significant stress starts to show up in their lives, they're not turning to a person, they're turning to a device, they're turning to social media, they're turning to these things which offer temporary relief.
That's so sad. But the last sentence that she was about to say was social media and cell phones are not bad. It's the imbalance that is bad. I played this video quite a number of times in different communities, and every time I play it, my heart breaks. Because you see what the subtle pressures that our children are facing. And because it's not a physical thing that we can see, we don't realize that that's what they're going through. Many children don't have social skills. Many children don't even make eye contact when they speak because they are online. Online doesn't require eye contact. You get that? So they don't even know that that's something to do. And without eye contact, you don't connect. So our children need to know that social media, cell phones, devices, they're not bad. It's the imbalance, the excessive use, the constantly hiding yourself behind a screen, the need to know that you don't exist if you're not online. Those are the things that we need to work on. We need to teach our children to use these tools in a healthy and a wholesome manner so that they're able to, thrive and balance. And that is what digital parenting is. One last thing I'm going to do before I dive in fully is the common mistakes that parents make about digital parenting. And the reason I'm taking my time to talk about, what digital parenting is not, what it is, talk about the imbalance, talk about the common mistakes, is so that you are aware, you can catch yourself when you're making these mistakes. Because almost all of us have made those mistakes. I made those mistakes before, I became more aware and adapted. It's not a crime to make these mistakes. What is the crime is now that you know and you don't adapt. You take what I call the easy way out. Oh, it's technology. Technology is bad. If you didn't know better, that's fine. But once you know better and you don't adapt, then you're doing a disservice to your children. And that's the sad reality. And so, what are the common mistakes? First thing is that you don't think you need to intentionally prepare your children for the digital world. That once they are stressing you out as a child, you give them your phone and you think that somehow they are navigating. That's a danger. It's like saying you don't need to take your child to driving school before they get into a car. You wouldn't do that, right? So why would you let your children go into the digital space without you guiding them, you telling them what your values are as a family and how those values transition online, you telling them about online safety and privacy and things like that. The values that you have offline will always transition online with your children. So the question is, what values are you impacting on your children today? And how are you ensuring that they're also transitioning those values online? If you're someone who is kind, then when you see a post about somebody that's just flying up and down the whole place, you wouldn't go because you're behind the screen and they don't know if you want to, three, four, and start adding to the comment section and typing. You will be kind and you will say, oh, maybe this person made a mistake. Or if I don't have something of listening to say, then let me not say anything. You see how that works? Kindness is kindness, whether it's online or offline. Discipline is discipline, whether it's online or offline. And so we need to be intentional about the values we impact in our children so that they transition those values online. Some other mistakes that we make, over monitoring without communication. You're putting screen time, you're saying don't use it before this time, you're saying you can't use this app, but are you having those conversations to explain to them why? Are you even listening to your children to understand why they think these things are important to them? Communication is not you talking at your children. Communication is a two-way street. That means you will listen objectively at why it's important. And perhaps if you stand your ground about not using that app or not using more than a certain number of hours, perhaps you can provide alternatives or meet them halfway, especially with your teenagers. Common mistake, assuming that you have complete understanding because you're older, you've lived longer. Yes, that guarantees you additional life experience. And doesn't mean you even know everything about life. You only have life experience based on your own experiences. But it definitely does not guarantee you digital life experience. You will be shocked how much more our children know and are exposed to and know how to navigate that we parents are completely clueless about. Let me shock you. The average teenager today knows a lot about drugs, alcohol, cyberbullying. They know how to get any drug they want in any part of the world. Yes, Nigeria is included, online. I promise you, if that's what they want, they can. So the question is, and we adults are completely clueless to that world. I'm not so clueless because I do these things. I do some investigations sometimes, so I know how they communicate and navigate. You go to a child's page, you don't see anything on the feed. You think, oh, my child is just there understanding the culture. Stories. Have you been to their stories? Have you been to their DMs? Have you gone to their one-time messages? That's where the real things are happening. And you can't over-monitor that because guess what? For every time you're monitoring something, you're dealing with your child and their online community. Once your child says, oh, my mom is a this, she does that, oh, my dad does this, they will gather and tell them 10 different ways to navigate. So it's not about block, block, block. It's about having a conversation so that you can have trust. You can trust your child to behave like the child you raised them to be. Lack of consistent rules and boundaries. Oh, today, because you have these, you're going to monitor them, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Then once work starts, oh, I don't have time. I beg. No, you need to be consistent. So rather than have rules that are not consistent, have rules that you can manage in almost any scenario. So that way your child knows what to expect. Children thrive on consistency. So please be consistent. Being ignorant of the importance of being a role model. We talk to our children about screen time. If we start monitoring almost all the screen time of almost everybody here, I doubt that anybody's screen time will be less than 13, 14, 15 hours. And I used to be 13 hours as at 2 years ago. I've brought it down to 8 hours on my mobile device, but I still do some hours on my laptop. So if you are finding it difficult as an adult, and don't tell me it's because you are working, the children will tell you it's because they're studying. You understand? So if you're finding it difficult as an adult to go away from screen time, don't demand it from your children as if it's something that is a given. Have a conversation, understand their challenges, and then make realistic rules. And if you're not providing that model for them to see how you can live an interesting life without being connected all the time, then don't expect it from them. Don't expect it for them if you can't do it. Underestimating the safety risks. Oh, you go to the office. Oh, you want the IT support person to repair your laptop for you or do something. You give them your password. Hello? Like, if your child does the same thing, you're going to scream bloody murder. So why are you doing the same thing? Have you taught your child how to go to privacy settings in their different apps and know how to turn it? For the children who are underage, are you checking to make sure that they're staying safe? What are your values? What are your rules about them talking to online friends? For example, when my children were of a certain age, until you get to a certain age in my home. And I'm not going to give you those age numbers because I don't want you to assume that that's the given. Every family is different. Every home is different, has a different vibe, has a different culture. But in my home, a lot of things happen based on age and then trust. So if you get to that age and we still can't trust you, guess what? We will still not let it happen. But for my children, or when you get up to, before you get to a certain age, you're not allowed to have online friends that are not your real life friends. And then before we monitor it closely, then we do spot checks until we are sure that this child gets what it is. And then even from some conversations you hear from your children, you realize that they really do get it. Because you will hear it when they're talking to their friends or when they're correcting their friends or when they're saying, sorry, I don't do this, right? And then not adapting to changing technology. You don't like technology. Hey, you don't have to like it to adapt. It's not your best friend. Just learn to use it and leverage it, and you teach your children to leverage it, okay? So in summary, digital parenting is all about raising healthy digital users in a gradual transition, pardon my typo there, from micromanaging their digital lives to giving them complete freedom in the online space. Haven't given them the tools they need to do it well. So let me break this down in reality. You have a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old. The reality is that by the time they are going into university or they are turning 18, whichever one comes first, you've probably lost control of their online presence. It is fully theirs. It might be fully theirs with your knowledge, or it will be fully theirs and you're completely clueless. The choice is yours and how you behave. And you have so number of years from whenever you started being intentional about it till that time they're leaving your house. And we all know when I say leaving your house, I don't mean like they're going to live in their own house. I mean they're going out into universities, more or less, the wide world. So by the time they're getting into university or they're 18, whichever one comes first, and you already know that age for each child. From whenever you started being intentional to then, you have to transition from micromanaging to completely giving them freedom before they leave your home. That's like saying when you buy a bicycle for a child, you have to transition from tricycle to doing stunts on the bicycle. And parents, whether you're in denial or not, this will happen this way. So the question is, are you getting in on the program and guiding your children so that they can navigate, know the street signs, know the nuances, and so that when they are pulling those stunts, they know how to compensate. When they're trying to do certain things, they know that this is not in their interest. The choice is yours, parents. It's not the children's, it's yours. And so with all this being said, how then do we equip ourselves? Because we have to be equipped to be able to raise children in this digital world, right? And I mentioned the ALA framework. The ALA framework is the framework of our Mastering Digital Parenting program, right? We have it once a year. The next one should come up first quarter of next year. And it's the framework that guides us when we teach anything about digital parenting. And I'm going to break it down and explain it, from framework to framework. ALA is accept, learn, activate, reinforce. And what does that really mean? In accepting, first of all, you need to understand and embrace technology. It is not going anywhere. It's like doing this and saying, because I can't see you, therefore you can't see me. I'm fooling myself. It's not going anywhere. So accept it, embrace it, and then leverage it. That's what you should be doing. And when your children see you do that, they will take the same. They won't just go sneaking like thieves in the night or the next best dopamine hit. They're going to command it, wield it like a weapon, and navigate and leverage it. But they need to see you do it. So that's what acceptance is about. If you haven't already moved from, I don't like all the negative things, right, to understanding that you can go and focus on the positive. There's a saying, what you focus on expands. If you focus on all the negative things technology brings into your lives, that's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to see. But if you focus on the fact that there are positive things, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to see. I tell people that I've intentionally primed my social media that I hardly see nonsense. Even when people send me posts that have, nasty commentary, guess what? When I open the comment section, see the nasty commentary. I only see the good thing. And I'm like, okay, where's the nasty commentary now? And then my friends have to actually screenshot the comments. Why? Because my algorithm has already been tweaked. I don't touch. Once there's a nasty comment, I swipe past. I never like a nasty comment. I never like an unwholesome post. I never share a post that I'm not actively championing. I don't spend more than 5 seconds on a post that I'm not, interested in. And so the algorithm has gotten the message. This woman only wants positive. I'm not interested in negative. Life is already negative. It's already harmful already. It's already full of rubbish. So why won't I just be my honest space, stay wholesome and happy, right? And we can do it. And the only way you can do it is actively being online and actively liking what you like and loving what you love and sharing those things that you love. It's simple, right? So please, let's accept and embrace technology. The next thing is learning. Educate yourself and your family about digital safety and etiquette, right? Now, you've accepted technology, but technology is changing every second of the day. So guess what? You need to be learning. And don't tell yourself, if you go with the attitude of, I have to learn this one every day. Oh, it will be boring. It will be tedious. But if you go into, this adventure, let me go and check this. Interesting. I'm like, Google is my friend. When I'm Googling, I'm reading a book, I'm Googling facts. I'm listening to a lecture, I'm Googling facts. And so I get I have a rich bank of random information because I Google. And now AI is even making it better because now I can actually learn from my perspective, right? So learn these things. And then when you learn these things, go and teach your family about them. Food for thought. How are you going to regulate what you don't know about in your home? How are you going to regulate it in your home if you don't know about it? And these children, look, if you're not giving them facts, they will fact check you and tell you, Mom, no, that's not true. So you need to be educated and enlightened about these things. And then you also need to educate your children. And some of the things you need to educate them about. Remember, I said that the values that you have offline will transition online. Well, in summary, these are some of the key values that you must teach your children online. Resilience, conflict management, and decision-making skills. Because guess what? Because they are dealing with people from other parts of the world with different backgrounds, there will likely be conflict. How they manage this conflict says a lot about who they are. They have to make decisions as to, do I need to really comment in this thing or not? What does it say about me? In 10 years' time, how will this post be? You need to teach your children how to do those things. You need to teach them, we've talked about balance. So I'm not going to flog the issue. Instead, it's so that they are not going to be binging on things online at night when they're supposed to be getting ready for work or an exam or even taking care of their family, right? You need to teach them empathy. I talked about kindness before. Just because someone is being trolled online doesn't mean they should be part of the trollers. If you don't have something kind to say, don't say anything. And if you need to stand up for something because you believe in it, please, by all means, have the courage to stand up for it. Safety and security. They need to instinctively know that whenever they jump on a platform, the first thing they're doing is checking the safety settings. Do you check the safety settings? How then are you going to teach them to check the safety settings? Are you sure that your page is safe? It can be whatever level of safety you're comfortable with, but ensure that you know what is there. And most importantly, when I say reputation management, people are like, onto what now? But the truth of the matter is, you're already creating a digital footprint. Whatever footprint your child created at 8, 9, 10, let's not talk about the fact that they shouldn't be online before they're 13. That's another matter for another day. We'll get there. But whatever presence they're creating at whatever age they get online. That is their reputation already. There are so many, there's a colleague of mine in the US whose job, she started as a digital parent. Well, she started as an IT person enlightening people about Facebook, then went into digital parenting. But now she's a specialist in online reputation management. Guess what the people pay her hundreds, thousands of dollars to do? To scrub their children's online presence clean when they're about to apply for university. Why? Because universities these days have a policy to randomly check applicants' pages. And so if your child has been doing all sorts of rubbish online, guess what? They're not going to get into that Ivy League school or that even whatever school they want to get into, because nobody wants to be affiliated with rubbish. And that also happens for jobs. We know people that have lost jobs or did not get employed for jobs because of their online posts. So you need to manage your reputation as a parent and teach your children how to manage their reputation as a parent. So you see, there's a lot for us to learn. And then we go into the activate stage. We're learning. Now it's time to apply what we're learning, right? We need to actively apply it so that it now becomes things that we do in our homes. We need to talk about social media safety. Social media safety, let me tell you the truth, it starts with you. Your children are watching you, whether you like it or not. They are listening to your utterances. And so if you're modeling what it is to be safe online, they are watching you not just, jump onto a platform and continue doing anyhow. They watch you be kind and respectful online. They watch you turn on your privacy settings. Then when you are talking to them about it, guess what? They would listen. They would likely listen, right? And then there's something I want to talk about today quickly, sharing. This is about excessive sharing online, especially as parents. Some of us are so proud of our children, we are posting their whole life history online. Do you remember what I said about reputation management? Guess what? Without your child's permission, once you're sharing, you're building your child's reputation. So when they go and apply for a job and then they randomly search them and see all the funny things they did as a baby or all the naughty things that they did as a baby, and you are posting and say, see what this child did. You're already exposing your child. And if you want to understand what I'm talking about, let's watch this video briefly. Please, as you watch or as you listen to me, put down your comments, put down your questions. I'd love to have a buzzing chat room, and then we'll deal with all the questions afterwards. We're wrapping up gradually. Remember, we're in the activate part of the framework, so it means we have just reinforced left, okay? Good. So sharing. What is sharing? Let's go. Okay, just 1 second.
I'm Lucy. I'm 7 years old, and my mom posted pictures of me online.
I'm Elmer. I'm 18 years old. My mom shares too much about me online.
I'm Zoya. I'm 16 years old, and my mom shares my whole life.
If you're gonna be so worked up about it, then I'll take it down, but I don't agree with you, just for the record. Why are we here today?
Talks.
En Facebook?
Yes. You want?
¿Por qué?
Let me show you a few.
This.
What's the big deal? I think you look so cute and it was a nice moment. What's wrong with it?
Yeah, because you didn't ask.
I also think of it as connecting to other people that I know in real life, Like, just think, like, Abu and Grandpa, like, how else do they know about you guys except to see you there?
You can call and FaceTime.
Yeah.
You can do many other stuff to see them instead of with social media.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point.
By age 5, the average kid has 1,500 photos of them online.
¿Y por esas fotos estamos aquí, no?
Technically, yes.
No lo puedes cambiar, o sea, ustedes son mi orgullo, no pueden cambiar nada.
It's a photo where I'm shirtless and I'm not ready for a photo.
Yo pienso que todos los papás hacemos eso. Yo la subo, yo no veo nada malo, tú tienes ropa abajo. Está todo privado y solo mis amistades y mi familia pueden ver todo.
All it takes is one person and one hack, and there goes all your privacy. Remember when I was getting my debit card?
No, pero no puse los números de tu...
No, I know you didn't, but it was like los números, como el address estaba ahí
No,
printado
ahí no
atrás
está
en
el
los
address.
papeles. Yeah,
No,
los papeles,
sí, pero...
como papeles que dicen mi nombre completo, tú sabes, cosas que son privados.
Posiblemente sí, eso sí, estuvo mal de mi parte.
Okay. By 2030, parents sharing about their kids online will account to 2/3 of identity fraud.
What is everybody so worried about? The sauce on the face photo, like what is it going to do that is like wrecking everybody's life in their imagination?
I think the sauce on the face photo, that's just an embarrassing photo. But, you know, the photo of me in a bathing suit. Someone out there could look at my body and think something of me that I wouldn't want them to think.
But you go on the beach in those clothes, and strangers could take photos of you on the beach and do what they want with those photos.
But you're my parent. You're my mom.
Right. Yeah, I would think about that, yeah.
You would. So now you would say that you would consider.
Maybe. Not really. Unless we stop taking vacations together and stop having good times together, it would actually, honestly, would be depressing if I couldn't document it for Insta. If it's not on Insta, it didn't even happen.
You really feel that way?
Yeah, because, yeah. So do you think kids should have veto power, the ability to say, please take that down, you have to?
I absolutely think that kids should have veto power. And again, it's because of how aware I am of the implications of the digital footprint that I say that. Some facts. In France, kids can sue their parents for sharing too much about them.
I mean, what should I say? They just don't know what they're doing, France.
If I'd asked you about that picture, would you be okay if I posted it?
Yes.
Oh, really? So it's actually about the asking, not about the picture itself.
Posting any private information or anything online should be my call.
I really try to limit the amount of things I aggravate you with. And if a photo or an upload is causing so much aggravation, is it worth it? It's probably not. So I understand where you're coming from.
So parents, are we going to be as unapologetic as these parents? And if you notice, the moms were like, it's about me. If it's not on Instagram, it doesn't exist. I like to do this, I like to do that. But it's really about your child's privacy and what your child is comfortable about. Because remember, even if they're not comfortable about it, and they can't even express that discomfort, that's another pressure they are carrying in their head. What will mommy push now again? And as they get older, they get more worried about it. And it might make them, act in the opposite direction of what they're used to online. So just have that conversation with your children, what they're okay with you sharing. It doesn't mean that every post you want to post online, you must seek permission. But with time, if you have general conversations with them, right, you'll get a sense of what they are okay with online and what they're not. And if a child expresses discomfort about anything you've posted about them online, please, parents, take it down now. We all existed and lived happy lives before social media, so we'll be all right. We don't have to be the on-trend parents all the time. Be selective about the kind of content you put. Review it and make sure it's not showing any personal information. Use your privacy settings so it's only going to maybe only friends and if you're a public personality, you can, for specific posts, you can adapt those posts to just specific people, unless you're comfortable with the world seeing it. And then for me, I say, try not to post live on your feed. Try to post after the fact. Just be careful. Okay, so that's on 20. We're going straight to parental controls. I'm not going to be able to talk extensively about some of these things because they are courses that in itself. In fact, I'm about to release a course about internet safety in August. I will tell you how you can join the waiting list and pre-order the course. It's a DIY course, so you can, and it's lifetime access. But basically, parental controls is a set of rules that you use to restrict, monitor, or manage what your child can see. And they provide an effective layer. The only thing I'm going to tell you is don't do parental controls for the mobile phone and leave the laptop. Anything that is on mobile, your child can get it from a laptop. I have parents who say, I see their phone, so they should not be online. And I'm just laughing. I said, please, do they have access to the laptop? Oh, yes, they're using it for school homework. And I just burst start laughing. And I said, they're also using it for the same social media. Ah, how? Why? I think because the apps all have online web pages. Instagram app, Instagram web page. Snap web page. They all have it. So if you're doing anything, do it across board. Preferably do it on their profiles, which is why Microsoft Family Safety is excellent if your child is using a Windows device, because it will cut across both your Windows device and your mobile, right? Google Link is for Android users, and Apple Screen Time is for Apple users for both the laptops and the phones, right? If you want to know more about how to use that, you can go online and Google them. Everything is there. But if you want a guided process on how to go about learning what they're about and how to set them up, just look out, join my waiting list. I will put the details and look out for when we start pre-ordering and pay for the course. I promise you it will be worth your time. Now, just to give you some perspective, these are the recommended hours for children and adults, by the way. I'm sure everybody's like, you, as we say in Nigeria, it's not possible. Yes, it's really not practical in 2025 unless you're like living in some hermit society. Yes. But I'm putting this here so that you have perspective. If you're doing 15 hours and what is ideal is 4 hours, then there's a journey. The closer you are to those 4 hours, the better for you as an adult, and so on and so forth for your children. But more importantly, it's the quality of the screen time that is more important than the quantity. You can tell yourself you are doing 4 hours, and if you're an adult doing 4 hours of porn, that's very unhealthy, right? If your child is doing 2 hours of mindless scrolling, just looking at the screen like zombie and just looking, that's not healthy. What are they doing in those hours that they're scrolling? Are they connecting with other human beings? Are they learning? Are they even dancing? Are they doing wholesome things? That's what you should be looking out for, more importantly than the amount of hours. Again, that's not to say the amount of hours is not important.
We need
It's
to
that
listen to
I
this
don't
program. Listen to that.
He's
Thank you for endorsing us. Please, can you mute your mic? Thank you. Okay, so more importantly than the number of hours is also the quality of whatever they're doing, right? And so parents, if you two are mindlessly scrolling on Instagram, on Facebook, your child too will mindlessly scroll on Snap and TikTok. Please. Last one, reinforce. So we've told you to accept, we've told you to learn, then we've told you to activate. Now we need to reinforce it, because when we do things over and over again, it becomes instinctive, it becomes a habit. And that's what reinforcement is all about. And you do that by regular check-ins initially, ensuring their routines, by having a healthy digital culture in your home. And I will speak to that. What is digital culture? Digital culture is about how technology and internet shape the way we interact as human beings. It's about the relationship between us and the use of technology. And digital culture in our home is shaped by our family value system. So if we're not a family that communicates, that's the family that will sit down and everybody doing like this. And they're all in the same space because you don't already naturally communicate. You see that? So food for thought, what does the digital culture in your home look like? Do you even have a culture, or is just anything goes? Just like we have ethnic cultures, we should have a digital culture. And I'll talk about one or two aspects of that now for emphasis. What's your communication style like in your home? Because to create a good digital culture, we need to have constant communication. I'm sure you've heard me say, have a conversation, have a conversation. Yes. Because when you have those conversations, you get to know about your children, get to know more about their experiences. Guess what? When they are in trouble, because conversation is happening freely between you and them, guess who the first person they will call? You. Right? Because you know them. They know you know them. So when they tell you something happened and they were not involved, they know you would believe them because you know your child. You can't know your child if you're not having conversations. Talk about their devices, talk about social media. Tell them to teach you about it. Don't interrogate them. Listen. Listen. I tell parents sometimes when you're listening to your children, learn to breathe and count to 10. Because sometimes they will tell you some very interesting things that your natural instinct is to shout or just say, hey. But you see, we have children who say, well, why didn't you tell your mother this or tell your father this? I'm like, Auntie, I can't. I'm not ready for drama. I'm not ready for their drama. That means you as a parent, you've not disciplined your emotions enough to be able to support your child. And that's such a sad thing because that child will have a lot of things that they need you to help them with, but they don't trust that you will manage your emotions and make it about them, not about you. Parents, we need to do better, right? And so we need to, and okay, I'm just going to say a few conversation starters here. Quick ones, because I know we're running out of time. How do you like spending your screen time? You can ask your children that. Who are your favorite influencers or your favorite YouTubers?
You look very good. You're picking out those
Hi, thank you. Who are your favorite gamers? Do you even know what gamers and YouTubers are? If you don't know, go online and go and check. Why do you even like them? That's a conversation we had with our kids during one of our Sunday lunches. What types of social media posts and stories do you like and why? And this is a no judgment. Well, how many of us know that we listen, we don't judge? Parents, please listen and don't judge. Listen first. Hear their opinion. Even if you feel like judging, breathe. Take the emotions out of it and explain to them the consequences from a non-emotional point of view. Like this about you. How about saying, look, I see what you're doing, but have you considered the fact that they will view you this way? This is the perspective you're giving other people about yourself. Is that who you are? Oh, you're jumping on the trend. I get it. You want to trend, but it doesn't reflect who you are. That's a completely different conversation from, hey, God, show your best. Come on now. Calm down. Regulate yourself emotionally and speak to your children like the smart children that they already are. Do you think everything you see online is real? Ask your children that. Can they tell the difference? How do they tell the difference? You will be surprised that by having some of these conversations, right? You said you will learn, right? Okay, so that's communication. Another thing I want you to talk about, to know about is a tech plan. We've talked about rules and values and all of that. And whether you like it or not, you already have a digital culture in your home, whether you're intentionally creating it or it has just formed itself from your action or inaction. Now, one way to shape digital culture is to have a technology plan. And what it is that it will help you sit down and say, okay, at this age, children in our house do this. At this age, we do that. When you get to this level, you do this. If you do this, you earn this privilege. If you do this, you lose that privilege. Don't go sitting down right now because Mrs. Okafor said so, and then start writing the entire tech plan, and then you come and say, this is our tech plan. That's a dictatorship. You're not running a dictatorship. Sit down and have conversations with your children. Tell them, look, in the past, we were not intentional about this because we didn't know. Now we're trying to be more intentional so that we can ensure that you guys can have a more wholesome attitude and reflection online. We are also going to hold ourselves accountable. Yes, parents, you need to be humble. As you are holding your children accountable, hold yourselves accountable. And then sit down and draft the plan together and agree on the plan. Tips for balancing tech use. Have a plan. Like I said, shut off technology. You can decide that in our house from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. No tech, right? Create tech-free zones at the dining table. We don't use tech. Then you stop fixating on technology, whether you're talking about security or whatever, and teach your children. And for those who are wondering, this is sometime. Because you see, as you're saying no tech zones, as you're saying no tech hours, you need to replace those times with something. So you can screen grab the next screen I'm coming up with, because this is summer. These are some things you can do with your children that do not involve tech. I'm not going to go through the entire list. Please just screen grab it. I know that this recording is going to be shared with this community. So for those who are listening, I'm sure you can find something here that you can adapt to your own, needs. I just wanted to put this here just to get your creative juices thinking. And in conclusion, yes, we are at the last slide. Challenges of raising children in the digital age are significant. With intentional effort and the right strategies, you can actually guide your children to be responsible digital citizens. And if you continue to educate yourself and stay involved in your children's digital journey, I promise you, it will not be something you regret. Your children will become resilient online. And to help you with that first step, you can also screen grab this. This is a free book that we write in our community. It's called Raising Tech Savvy Kids. This is volume 1. We actually have other volumes coming up soon. And this is the first one about setting healthy screen time boundaries, just things that you need to take into consideration. And then for those who might be interested in the internet safety course, also screen grab this. If you go to this page, if it's not up, it should be up today, the link to the waiting list. If it's not up today, I promise you later this evening it will be up. I was just having a bit of a tech issue earlier on in the day. And if you screen grab this, you will be able to get access to this course. If you pre-order it from 1st of August to 15th of August, you can get it for $27 or 40,000 Naira in Nigeria. If you do it from 15th of August upwards, it will be for $37 or its equivalent in any currency or 50,000 Naira in Nigeria. And here we are at the question and answer segment.
Thank you very much, Ma. Like, we don't even want you to leave. It's been so engaging. And I don't know if everyone agree with me, but that's the way I feel at the moment. It's been very engaging. Thank you. It's been worth the while. And we're just going to just race now to the question and answers segment because we know this might take a long time. And I shared some questions with you earlier, so I'm going to run through that first, and then some have come to my personal to my DM too. So that would also go through them one after the other. So please, if you have more questions, just put it in the chat box. It's okay for you to also send me a private message if that makes you more comfortable. So the first question. Okay, so, well, you've answered that earlier. So it says that how can we restrict our children screen time from screen time? And I've learned not to be authoritarian. So I'm sure some of our guests, our audience too, they've been able to pick that. So, and like she shared earlier with the DPS program, it will be I've been one of the programs, the first that should be the first one in 2022, yeah. And it was it was what every time every penny spent. So please do join. So I would leave that opportunity for you to answer that question if you still want to throw more light on that, then before I move on to the next question.
Well, I'll only just say go to either, Apple screen time if you're using Apple devices, laptop or Android or phone, sorry. Or if you're using Google, you can use Google Link. That's if you're using Android phones, anything that requires you to use a Gmail account to register the phone, then go to Google Link. Or then for all Windows-based devices, as well as Android, you can use Microsoft Family Safety. Now, like I said, always try to limit the screen time to their profiles on those devices and make sure that it's only that profile that they use. children are not too young to learn certain things like password. If your child is too young to understand password concept, then they are too young to left on a device alone. Do you understand? Those are the natural things. No, you see, nature always helps you regulate. So if a child is too young to be able to remember their password, then they are too young to be able to bear the responsibility of being online in any form. You get it? So let's take those cues from them and just, restrict the screen time in line with that. But I always say, as you restrict the screen time, replace it. In my home, there's so many activities that the children engage in. Right now, as we speak, I have about 10 young children under the ages of 11 in my home. They're all busy. You know why? They're either playing basketball, football, playing cards, playing what? Playing Monopoly. Yes, they will be online too, but guess what? When they get together like that, they are not as online. They're not as, I mean, you've gone to parties where
Okay,
children
any
are having
class.
parties and all of them are online playing.
Okay,
Do you get it?
this
The
is
children are here together, but they are all still online. No, let them interact in real life. Yes, okay, next one. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much for that. That was quite explicitly. Okay, so the next one says, what activities can I use to engage a 2-year-old child without being fully involved? So, because like the climate that we are in, we need to understand that we have parents that are working from home and
Oh,
they have
sure.
toddlers and all that. So, how can they sort of engage these children or even have
Hmm.
sort of a healthy screen time?
Hmm.
Such that they are not fully involved, but they're sure that their child is also safe.
Mm-hmm. So, when my children were growing up, I had 4 of them under 7. 4, yeah. I mean, so like you know this. So I had 4 of them under 7, and I'm a 95 mom, and it was quite a bit. But one thing I realized was I quickly got them hooked on DIY. So they would have all these science experiments, easy science experiment books for those that liked experiments. They would have knitting needles and knitting machines for those that like to knit. I had that's constant supply of molding clay. And they had designated areas for those kind of things. So that no matter what they do there, my house is still reasonably intact, right? So they would mold all sorts of things and make all sorts of things. We were always buying what's these things called? The bricks that they stick together, Lego, different ones. And then one thing that was an easy hack for me was I would go online, especially once summer was coming, and I would print so color by numbers, the blank pages. I will print as many of them, And the funny thing was, while I even had my own children, my sister's children were mostly in my house. So I had 6 children at the time to keep busy most of summer. They are now 7, but I mean, they're older now. So, and guess what? We've grown up with those habits. So my children are the children that would make cards for their friends and for us rather than buy them, right? My children are those children that would create things for their friends and for their families because they love DIY. I love gardening. And while gardening is not something you can tell a 2-year-old to do on their own, I mean, if they help you garden, water the plants and all that, with time, especially the plants are not so far away, you can get them their own little watering cans. And once you start time, you set an alarm maybe to water the plants at 5 p.m. Guess who is going to come and remind you that, Mommy, I need to water the plants, right? So all you would do is whenever you're in the kitchen, just put water in that jug and just keep it by one corner. That will keep them busy for 5-10 minutes. It's not about constantly keeping them active. It's about being creative. And then when my children come and say, "Oh, I'm bored," I say, "Yes, I love it that you're bored. Your mind is resting, your creative juices are flowing. So whatever is in your mind, take a blank sheet of paper, write it down, draw." And that's how I have an author in my home. She wrote her first book when she was 10, right? Because out of boredom, she would just develop all sorts of characters. And then we put some of them into a book, and she's written a book. But do you understand what I mean? It's about the mindset. It's about the mindset. You have a 2-year-old in the house, they will have lots of energy. Yes, you are stressed. But if you think about it creatively, you will find things you can do. And then don't look for perfection. If your child draws something that is not so perfect, but they are so proud of it, please hang it on the wall. Anybody that comes to your house that doesn't understand that you have a 2-year-old, that's their problem, not yours. When you hang it on the wall, guess what? When next you say go and draw, your child will draw even, they will draw even more elaborately and put in, and that takes time. That will wear them out. So honor, put in energy to praise them when they do these things so that they find it. Sometimes it's not really about what they're doing, it's about getting that your attention. Like, if I do this thing, mom is going to praise me. So praise them. And then you find that they will be busy with those things. And then when you want them to be online, you just put it. Once you put the parental control, it is 1 hour for that app. It will go off immediately after the 1 hour. And then at least you bought yourself 1 hour. I hope that has helped you.
I hope
Please
that
don't
has
give a
helped.
2-year-old your phone. No, I beg. I
No,
didn't say you
thank
should.
you.
Uh-huh.
No, thank you to that, please. And that was quite intense, and we sincerely do appreciate that. That's very helpful for a lot of people. You can so someone asked earlier if all of the tech activities, are you supposed to do everything in a day? No, you can't. Like she shared earlier, you need to just know what works for you. Oh, I don't have a garden. Invest in scrap papers. You don't go wrong with scrap papers. All of their old books that's been returned to you after every year. I used to do
Yeah.
that a lot. I would just collect the part that's I can just
Mhm,
rip out, leave the ones that I still
mhm,
want to save, and then you have enough powerful scrap papers. And days that you can buy what's it called? All of these color by number books. There are a lot of them
mhm,
in shops where you can get
mhm.
play. And the thing is,
1 pound.
you have to just come up with something. You have to be creative. You have to know what works for you, what works for your children. Yes, if in your family you do not subscribe to sleepovers, okay, take them to the park and all that. Let them look forward to it. Engage them in all of the
Exactly.
activities, invest in it. The truth is now you may not be buying all the trendy Hermes clothes and all that. You can invest in all of these activities to just keep them
Mhm,
busy,
mhm,
wipe them out.
mhm,
The goal at the end of the day
mhm.
is that by 7:30 they are tired. So
You
that
understand?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
goal, really.
That's the goal. Wear them
Yeah,
out.
wipe them out, and I've seen teenagers actually tired. The trend, yes, the research says that because of the endorphins and all of the hormones and all that, they don't go to bed early. But if you get them really actively involved in sports and all of those things,
Mhm,
they will be
mhm.
tired, and that's just the truth.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you
I
very
mean,
much for
Mrs.
that.
Alaska, your favorite student is into basketball and
Yeah.
football and all of that. So
Well, we
there's
are
some
not
days he
wasting the
just comes
height.
home and just yes, he just comes home and he just sleeps.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Good to
Mhm.
hear. So I'm going to go on to the next question. How to support reluctant readers positively? Uh,
Hmm.
that's a very
Question number one: are you a reader? Mommy and daddy, are you readers? If
good
you're not
question.
readers, why are you stressing our children? You have to. When you read, they will see you read. They will see that reading is fun, and then they might be interested in reading. And then secondly, if your children are young, please don't do any bonding with your children. Do reading time. 5 minutes. It doesn't take, you don't need more than 5 minutes. Of course, sometimes when they really like the story, they might want a bit more, but you can discipline them. I did that with all 4 of my kids. And guess what? Even though at some point some of them didn't like to read, now everybody's an avid reader. My last child is 11. He went on a school trip like 2 months ago. And it was a 5-day trip. Guess how many books he took with him? 5. He said, yeah, because he knows there are moments he won't be able to do anything else because they don't allow them bring their devices when they're going for such trip. Guess what? He came back 5 days later. He had finished all 5 books. Yeah. And he is 11. So reading is a culture. As with everything cultural, you need to just keep doing it, make it fun. So if your children are young, start with bedtime reading. That 5 minutes that you're reading to them, you tell yourself, I'm resting, right? I'm taking a 5-minute break. You read to them, you exaggerate the sounds. You don't have to make it preachy. Come on now, you're not an actor and actress, you're not a professional. You just want to feel your enthusiasm. And then you tell them, okay, now that we've read the story, we'll leave the rest of it for tomorrow. Now it's bedtime. And they go to bed. Of course, it's not always like that every day. But if you continue and keep with it, they will like the stories. And then as they get older, gift them books. Spend the money on the books because they are not cheap. If you go into my children's room, we have walls of books. And every time I look at those walls, I'm like, hey, this is where my money has gone. I don't take some of my children into certain stores because I will not leave there without buying the book. So read and teach them, and they'll read.
For those of us in Canterbury and districts, so you can register your children in the library. It's free, and usually what I'm very aware of, because I've done that with my own little ones over the years, is to they have the summer program. So they are gunning for a medal at the end of summer. So they have a target. You could do that. You could try that out, and because we all like to be motivated, we all like medals, we all like things like that. So that's something you can do. You could attach a reward to it. So if that's also helpful, maybe, oh, if you finish this
Yeah.
book, this is what you will get, and things like that. Of course, don't make it too outrageous. Just something as little as maybe an extra screen time or hour or something, something that you know that they
Exactly.
won't mind, and then you just then get them to that culture and it becomes part of them. And the truth is, when you're doing it, just like Mr. Okafor just shared, I can't, if I'm not planning to buy a book, I don't take my little ones into places like W.H. Smith, because I won't leave there without buying maybe Diary of the Wimpy Kid or something extra copy. Oh, the latest
Exactly.
volume is out and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it just comes to them naturally. So it's all by practice. If they don't see you read, it's difficult to get a reader in them. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to the next
Sorry, just one
private.
more thing to add
Okay,
to
go
that.
ahead, please. Yes.
You need to also be open-minded about what children like to read. I'll give you an example. My two brothers never liked to read books, but they loved comics. And from liking to read comics, my immediate younger brother now likes to read motivational books. Those are the only things that interest him. He's not interested in fiction or any of these things. And you see, it's about the reading culture, not necessarily about reading this type of book culture. So if you try one thing, it doesn't work, try the other. So long as it's wholesome content. I mean, reading is reading.
I agree. I agree. I have a one of my little ones that prefer comics. I like the ones I mean, the one that likes facts. So those are the things.
Mm-hmm.
And the library is just filled with things like that to explore, allow them explore. And with time, like Stephanie, for example, they start scrapping, they start doing a lot of scrap work, start coming up with their own
Mm-hmm.
stories, and you would just by doing that, you can even create a niche for them, and that would even help them
Exactly.
sort of thrive in their learning. Okay, so I've got a private
Exactly.
question I want to attend to now before going to the others. It says that
Mm-hmm.
my child has never used social media before, and this child is 13, and
Mm-hmm.
at the moment she's not interested in social media like
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Strangely, that's interesting, but that's good.
That's impressive.
So she's
First of
just,
all, kudos to the parents
yeah.
because they've made her have a rich world.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
agree. I agree. And because I know this particular child, I know that the parent is just not making this up. So, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just, she's asking that at what age should she try? Because eventually she will meet it. And we all know that the university, the colleges, it's like a wild cat. So we need to
Yeah,
sort of prepare them for it. So at what age should she start like trying to just let her get used to it before
do it.
going to off to college and all?
I love that question. So I'll say this, I won't give you a specific age, but I'll say target 2 years before. So when they're in year 10, right? Begin to just talk about it, get them to have a profile. They don't have to have an active profile, but let them just sometimes you can go through posts together, discuss it, and so that you begin to see why she's been adverse to it in the first place. Because you see, you also don't want to assume, and this is not me assuming the worst. This is just me sharing experiences. There might be children who have gone online when they were young and had negative experience, so are now adverse to it. You want to clean that, you want to manage that psychological imprint before they leave your home so that they don't, have that negativity following them all through. There's a lot to learn from any platform. And this is not me saying that everybody must be online. No. This is me saying that when anybody has a negative experience, it's always good to have closure. So if by chance that's a child's scenario, and I'm not saying this is this child's scenario, I'm just saying this because we're learning. You need to also deal with that. But for her, I'll say 2 years before she leaves home, just have it. Can be a social experiment every weekend. You just go online together, spend 30 minutes online together, and then she can maybe begin to and monitor her as she starts, because something she wasn't exposed to before, you will find that without even planning to, she might quickly get addicted to the likes or the dopamine or the people or the accolades or whatever it is. So that's my thought.
Thank you very much for that. And I hope that our responses have been able to sort of help so far. So I'm going to the next question now. She says, or he or she said, how do I help a child stay active during summer? I think that's been shared earlier. All of these non-tech activities, we can explore that. And so one person said, I would leave it for Mrs. Okafor to answer. Do you subscribe to summer lessons? And at what age? She says, do you subscribe to summer lessons, and at what age do you deem it fit appropriate?
So for me, it's about the intention. In my home, when the children were younger, now they have so many activities. So lessons per se are only needed when they're struggling with a particular subject. They earn their freedom in my home. That's what it's always been right from when they were younger. If you get the agreed upon grades, have fun all summer. Yes, sometimes I might decide that everybody we try to get everybody to learn a new skill part of summer. So for example, my two middle children for Model United Nations camp last week. My middle child is doing coding and he's trying to Python this summer. My first child, she learned entrepreneurship last summer, as well as makeup, eyelashes, and tying of the gilly, right? And this summer, she's also going to do some give back and charity initiatives with her charity initiative in preparation for getting ready for university and starting A-level school. So, but my point is, we always apportion a portion of the summer to learning a skill set. But you see the rest of that summer, you can either spend it doing your lessons or having complete outright fun based on how well you perform during the term. So it's also motivation for them to do well. That's what works in my home because I have children who are, go-getters, they are self-motivated, they are transactional in certain ways, right? It may not necessarily work exactly like that in your home. But I say this, don't mindlessly do summer lessons because it's an escape route for you. Children need downtime. Their brains need to rest. So there has to be or even if it's not rest, they need other things to engage them. So find out how that will work. You get some time off work every year. Apportion even if it's 5 days to those children. As my children grew older, initially I used to spend all my summer with my children when they were younger. But as they grew older, I found out that I was always getting burnt out. So I spent between 3 weeks, give or take, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks with them during summer. And then after Christmas till the new year, I'm also at home. And so what that means is that when they resume school in January, I still have about a week or two where I now get to recalibrate on my own quiet time as the year starts. That's what works for me. But as parents, yes, we need to work. Yes, we need to earn money for these children, but that provides their material needs. They still have emotional and psychological needs. They still have spiritual needs. And we parents have to be there for all of that. So please, we need to find a way to make it work.
Thank you very much for that. That was quite lovely and a very practical approach. And the next question says, back to you, ma'am. At a time when children learn a lot from internet, is it ideal to leave toddlers with educational contents on the internet for at least 4 to 5 hours?
I'm sorry, it's not. Yes, it's educational content, but can that educational content be on paper and biro? And the reason is very simple. Science says that from between the ages of 2 to 3, I think 4 max, the brain is still actively, being formed. And let me scare you a bit. It's so ruthless in its formation that if there are sections of the brain that is not used, it will go dead, like dead forever. Which is why when you bring children into a new environment at that age and they're speaking maybe French, they pick up French very quickly. But if they pick it up over summer and then they come back to Nigeria or to England and they're speaking only English, they forget it, right? So those windows is when you really want to pack a lot of learning experiences into your children's lives. There's when we say children are on the spectrum, behavioral spectrum, psychological spectrum, yeah, it is for real, right? Because the frequency that the cartoons speak at, right? If it's not tailored specifically for children, it speaks at a frequency that alters the way the children think sometimes. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm just giving you bare facts. Some children are not affected by it. Some are. So you don't want to risk it. 5 hours, I think, is a tad much for a toddler. First of all, a toddler is supposed to be sleeping something like 13 hours a day. So if they're not sleeping in the night, they should be napping a good portion of the day. Children are supposed to be enjoying sunshine, vitamin D, so that their bones and their joints will be well formed. And then they are supposed to be learning how to write at that age. So let them write and scribble all over the place. You can get them those chalk that you use on the sidewalk and let them go outside and use it and draw, right? Just have someone keep an eye on them. That's the most important thing. Once they have good supervision, they can be left to just explore. I know this is not happy news for a lot of people, but 5 hours is a bit much. If you do 2-3 hours, if it's a small device, 2-3 hours best. If it's TV, maybe you can do more hours, but not at a stretch. So if you do 1 hour, then let them go and play for 30 minutes, then 1 hour, but they can't do that for. I'm struggling here because I always like to know people's specific scenarios before I say so, but generally, as a rule, no. Max, if it's a big screen, 4 hours at intervals. If it's a small screen, 2-3 hours, because their eyes too, they're squinting, they're looking at this high frequency lights for so long. It's not good for them.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, just to buttress what she's shared, I would just share from a teaching professional perspective. And the truth is, this is what it does. It sort of delays their speech, and usually, fine, we have cases of people who are neurodivergent as a trait, as being transferred from parents, but some also is as a big as a result of being exposed to all of this high frequency tablets, phones, and all such that it affects the neurons in their brains. And so I would just sort of recommend all of the non-tech activities that's been shared earlier. pace it. Yes, TV is good. Screen time is good. It's just having the balance and having it healthy. That's what helps.
Yeah,
Okay, because the truth is, I
exactly.
know that like what she said is that no, because it is the child comes first, and it's I'm sorry to um be a bearer of bad news just like her, but you because what you're doing is because of the children, you're working because of the children,
Mm-hmm.
albeit paint a
Mm-hmm.
scenario that eventually this child that you're working for is not able to achieve his or her milestone because of the exposure to this high frequency lights and all of these things. So you don't want, I know that some of us we're working from home, we have people supporting us with the children, and you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be a bother to that person. Oh, don't worry. Once you give her the Kindle tablet, she's fine. No, no, thank you. No, thank you. Please just space it. Let them all of if you get the number by color by number
Follow
books,
by numbers.
you can't be wrong with that. There are options for
Mm-hmm.
maze. Maze is another thing
Mm-hmm.
that you can also give a child to do. And because you could get the ones that are very, very difficult, because the goal is for the child to find a way out. So put a reward that when you find a way out and all, you will get this. You keep the child busy. I
Mm-hmm.
know it's a lot, it's very difficult for parents working from home. I hear you. I feel your pain, but eventually it's about the child.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you're very right. And I'll say,
yeah, go
sorry, let me
ahead.
suggest something else. I don't
Yes.
know how well it works. I know here in Nigeria we have community, but even then it's not as when we were younger.
Hmm.
So perhaps if you have one or two trusted parents, you might want to rotate, you know, child minding such that at least one parent has a free 1 or 2 hours in a week, another parent gets to hold all the children. You just rotate the child care so that at least you have that 1 or 2 hours where your brain can just decompress. Always be intentional about your friendships, your communities so that you can leverage them when you need them.
Hmm.
And I'm saying that to even the Nigerians that are here because we're also beginning to have these problems here.
Mm, mm, mm. I know it's very tough. We have to be realistic. Yes, it's very tough at the moment because we don't have as much the community experience that we probably enjoyed when we were much younger. And even at that, that's another
Yeah,
topic for another day. But even at that, one needs to be very safe, you know. So
yeah,
I would
exactly.
just like she said, community. Sometimes you might want to explore daycare. It's expensive, not all the time, maybe once a week, twice a week,
Mm-hmm,
and then so that you
mm-hmm.
can have all of those breathers when you need them. Because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
truth, I am the advocate for the child. I won't be on your on your side this time around. I'm sorry.
Like,
Okay, so I will go to the
yeah,
next question quickly. I think we've been able to. Yeah, so I'm going back to my DM. Okay, back to, oh, sorry, just running
no,
from
it's
one
fine.
one post to another to get all of the questions in place. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, this one says that what are some signs that I would see that my child may be experiencing online harassment? Thank you for that, the person that
Mm,
sent this to me. What are some signs that a child might be experiencing that I would see
mhm,
that my child is experiencing online harassment, cyberbullying, and
mhm.
how best can I respond as a parent? That's a very good question. Thank you.
Fantastic question. I love it. So, there's no clear-cut rule for how a child behaves when they experience cyberbullying. You might find that a child that was quiet and well behaved suddenly becomes unruly because of that. That's how they're acting out. You might find that a child who's unruly suddenly becomes a people pleaser, right? And these are extremes. But what you really want to take a look at is how was my child behaving before this time, and how are they behaving now? Once your child's behavior becomes completely different from what they knew before, don't go looking for problems, just have conversations. By the time you start to have conversations, if you are intuitive to your child, you know when they're keeping things from you. You know when they are micro. So we have something that we call micro expressions. When a child, you don't talk to a child and they pull their hand back away or they don't make eye contact. Like I said, eye contact is a big deal. And if your child is not someone that typically makes eye contact, please, every time they're talking to someone, say, look up, look in my eyes. Why? Because the minute children stop making eye contact, they distance themselves from whatever environment they're in. So for my children, for example, if they stop making eye contact, I know there's something coming up or there's something up. You just need to know who your child was before so time and who they are now, and trust your instincts. We're giving parental instincts because they are the first line of protection for our children. If your instinct tells you your child is in trouble, begin to just, not in a fake way, in an assumed manner, but in just general, bring that child close and just be having conversation. Don't force it. It doesn't have to be lengthy conversations, just minimal conversation. And when you eventually do confirm that they have these problems, now I'll say the first thing, that the child didn't come to you is something that you should note. It's either because they have challenges expressing themselves, or you haven't made it safe enough for them to come to you. And when I say safe, I'm not just talking of physically safe, but also emotionally safe. Or it's just difficult for them to talk about it. And either way, there's work to be done. That's what you need to look at it as. There's work to be done. For me, I'm a God girly. So the first thing I will say is pray, pray, and pray again. If you don't know what prayers to pray, when you get on my page as well, you see the book Parenting with the Father every day. It has 90 prayers for parents. Even tech issues are addressed in that book. And it's because I find that parents sometimes don't know how to approach God in certain scenarios. It's quick. It's for 90 days. It doesn't have to be done in succession. You can use any prayer for any day, but it's 90 prayers, and each one, the guide note can be read in less than 5 minutes. But my point is this: pray and seek wisdom for how to address this issue. Prayer can be Christian, it can be Muslim, it can be Buddhist. I am not judgmental. As long as you believe in a higher power, please ask the higher power to guide you. Because when it comes to our children, we are not doing this alone. We cannot. We are not equipped to. So seek that guidance, that instinct, that wisdom. And once you begin to have those conversations, once you address the issue, and I'm saying this from my own personal experience, my child has been bullied online based on a post that child puts online that they shouldn't have in the first place. And then others took up that post, began to use it to, well, not necessarily blackmail. Maybe if we have gotten to blackmail, if we had let it linger. And luckily for me, that child came to us as soon as they knew about it, which was, thank God, within like 48 hours of it happening. And good thing was, because they also had good friends, it was their friends that came and said, did you know that this is going on online? And then they came straight to us. And yes, we were upset, of course. I mean, we're human beings. Yes, we were, confused because we've told you not to do things like this. This is what gives you exposure. But we focused first of all on supporting that child, addressing the issue with the different parties that were involved, giving our child that confidence, because we tell our children that when you're in trouble, the first place you should come to is mommy and daddy. You go move heaven and earth to solve that problem first before anything else. And after we had solved the problem, after that child had done the necessary things they needed to do, but we had even more conversations. Then we imposed consequences after having an extensive conversation, understanding that they realized that they flouted the rules of the house, the tech rules of the house. They realized that they flouted the family values. They realized and remember that there are consequences. The thing is this: they are children, their brains are not fully formed and will not be fully formed till they are about 24, 25. So if you are functioning with a brain that is not fully formed, you cannot make smart decisions. As parents, we need to accept that. And I tell parents that the safest place for your child to make a mistake is house. Because guess who loves them the most? Guess who will ensure that they'll be safe and taken care of? You. If they make those mistakes outside, anything can happen. They can be judged. They can be maligned, right? So we need to be mindful of that. We need to be mindful of that. And then if they are being bullied, please, parents, if it's a school issue, don't be afraid to take it up with the school. I'm sorry, the school has to come correct, like we say in Nigeria. We are not, I mean, my child's own happened in school. It was students. We took it up with the school. We got phone numbers of every parent in that group. And we started making calls individually to each and every parent until we got everything we needed from. And it spanned 2 schools. And we went across 2 schools. So I'm not saying this because it sounds good. I'm saying this because I have done it. I have lived it. Don't go going like a crazy person because you want results. You want your child protected as quickly as possible. So your phone call is not, or your conversation is not going to be, try to be calm for the sake of your child. Get the results you need. After you've gotten the results you need, well, if you want to go crazy, go ahead, but get the results first. But you get my point. Keep it focused. Keep it focused. Apologies for that background noise. Yeah. Okay, next.
Thank you. Thank you for your vulnerability. And I sincerely do appreciate that. Well done, ma'am. The very last question before we finish, it says that very lovely question actually. She said that what are some potential challenges and obstacles that parents might face in implementing all of these suggestions that we've all talked about, and how can we overcome them? Because let's be realistic, it may be successful, it may not. So I love that question. Thank you very much. Over to you, Miss Okafor.
Well,
We can't see you
truthfully,
again.
I'll say this. Oh, sorry about that. Apologies. Just give me a moment. I accidentally turned off my video. Yeah, so I'll say this, right? Practice makes perfect. The Americans say you need to break a few eggs to make an omelet, right? So you practice, you won't get something right, you will stumble. Don't be dissuaded, just continue, right? Just continue. Like I keep saying, pray about it. I pray about my family's tech needs. I pray about my family's communication. I pray about my family's ability to manage their emotions. I pray about, like, intentionally every day. I have a list of about 40 something things I'm very specific about when I'm praying every day. And tech is about 10 of it in different forms, right? And so it's not a one heart fits all. The thing you will do for one child that will work might not for the other child. The thing you will do for that child at this age will stop working at a certain age. And so you just have to keep adapting. But I'll tell you the light that is at the end of the tunnel. And I can say this again, not just from my perspective, from the perspective of some of the few moms that we parent our children together. We are in awe at how God has blessed us because we know who we were some years back and who we are now. And we see the results in our children consistently. This is across minimum of 4 families, across ages of children from now 18 all the way to 9, right? And from when they were young till now. They're right now as we speak. I'm talking of 15 children aged from 9 to 18. And they're all consistently well-behaved, doing well. Yes, there will be moments where we need to step in. But those are moments, and that's how you know you're doing a good thing. That is not the behavior of the child, it's a moment. It's a moment for a lapse in judgment. Then we move on. And that is and then in all those, after having 1 or 2 moments, you will have consistency in excellence, in good behavior, in wisdom, in diligence. That's how you know you are doing well as a parent. And when you see those moments, capture them, record them down on your phone, on your brain, and keep them in your mental shelf, right? So that the day the moments come, you will first look at all your accolades of all the ones you've gotten right. Then you go like this. I'm a good parent. This is just a moment. And then you address the moment. Because there will be moments. There will always be moments. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It's been mind-blowing. It's been very expository. Let's put all of our claps in the chat box now, quickly. All of our emote icons, everything. Let's start putting it for her because it was really helpful for me. Very expository. Thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Well done, well done, well
Thank you.
done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please, if you have any feedback beyond now, please feel free to follow on what's it called, all our social media platform. And if you want to also reach out to us directly, is also fine. We are Brooks Sparkle Project. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Like I said, the recording for this session will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, so you can always go back to it because, like she said, practice makes perfect. So if you've forgotten anything, you can go back to it, rewatch, and then just also to be able to get a better perspective to all of this thing because the truth is we're all on a journey. We've not been here before, and I need you to celebrate your successes, just like she said. Give yourself a
Yeah.
pat on the back. You've done well so far.
Yeah.
You've done well even by deciding to join this meeting. That is all about intentionality, being intentional about your parenting process. It's
Mm.
been a mind-blowing and a lovely session, I must say. I'm just short of lexicon now. You know when you've been you've been
Thank
blown
you.
away and the lexicon is not just flowing as it ought to be, but really thank you so much. We sincerely do appreciate you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And to all of those that felt like we were bearers of bad news at some point, like we said, we love you, but we are on the side of the children and we are on your side too, so that you be able to
Exactly.
actually steward those children because that's what we are. We are stewards, and our job is
Mm-hmm.
to do it
Mm-hmm.
as God has empowered us to do. We can't
Yeah.
be the goal is for us to be better off than yesterday. So that
Mm-hmm.
should also be at the back of our mind. And at
Mm-hmm.
any point in time that you're not sure, just breathe, count 1 to 10, and say, I am a good parent. This is just a moment.
That's it. I promise you, if you address it as a moment, it
Yeah.
will be a moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 or 3 moments might come back to back. I wish I
Mm-hmm.
had the luxury of time. I
Mm-hmm.
could tell you stories about some of our clients who have worked with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just consistency. The changes are always miraculous, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just keep at it.
Yeah.
Keep at it prayerfully, emotionally, consistently, and you will see it. You will see it.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you. That's my experience. I've had children who have gave me many moments back to back, right? But right now, we're a thriving family. I
Yeah.
promise you.
Yeah, that's the goal, really. The goal is to thrive, to get better than yesterday, to flourish, and we will flourish. We will, God helping us. And one thing that we should also, I'm just going to leave this with us, is to, at any point in time, not live in denial. If you see anything that requires support, please reach out
Yeah.
to the um necessary places that you can get support. If your child is having delay in speech, reach out to the NHS. For those that are in the UK, there is support for every phase that, especially for the children. So please make good use of it. Don't, I know that our community sometimes you're afraid to be labeled, and at the end of the day you don't give the child the support that the child needs because you're afraid of being labeled. The thing is, the child would come first. And what you want to ask yourself, have I been a good steward, regardless of anything that the child is displaying? So, if you can answer that question, part of being a good parent is actually accepting what has been that's in your way and making the best out of it. I know that
Yeah, well said.
yeah, I know we have cases of we are looking forward to bringing someone that is neurodivergent expert at some point. We will still be bringing Mrs. Okafor again, whether she likes it or not. We are
I see what you're doing there. I
yeah.
see it.
Yeah, so we will be bringing her again, and we hope that you will tell someone about today's session. Like we said, as soon as it's ready, we will be uploading on our YouTube channel so that you can rewatch and so that you can get yourself equipped. It's been a mind-blowing session. How can you say thank you to me, Brooks Sparkle Projects? Please follow us on our social media pages. Please, I beg. Thank you. Using our Nigerian slang, please, I beg. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for spending time. We will be back in in September. Watch our social media pages for all of the information. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and if it's Sunday for those in Australia. So we hope that you have a beautiful weekend ahead. Please leave all your feedback on our social media pages. We'll sincerely do appreciate it because that's what we will thrive on. Thank you so much, Mrs. Okafor. Let's blow hugs and kisses. If there are still people available for us to do our usual Zoom fee, I've got my camera on. So if you're happy to, we will be doing the usual Zoom fee. So please, please, and please turn your camera on, indulge us. And if you don't want to, that's equally okay too. Okay, so I'm ready. I think Mr. Kafo would need to stop sharing so that we can see side by side the other people too.
Yeah, I just stopped.
Okay, so for some reason it's not showing it. Oh, okay, I think I need to change the panel gallery. Yes, that's where we are. Okay, so I can see me, I can see Miss Jennifer, I can see Miss Okafor. So please, let's turn it on and put a bit of a smile on your face. Okay, and tell me that you're ready when we say Brooks Sparkle Project. So, 1, 2, 3, go. Brooks Sparkle Project. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a lovely session, and we hope that we've been able to answer your questions. Like I said, we will be bringing Miss Okafor again soon once she creates time out for us in a very, very extremely busy schedule. I will stop recording here.